Hello everyone. I hope you and your families are doing good. I am Priyanka Purohit, a CA Finance student. I hope you all are liking this series of accounting standards. Please let me know your views and suggestions in the comment section below. So today we are going to start with a new accounting standard 23, accounting for investments in associates in consolidated financial statements. So let's start it. First of all, we will see the applicability and its scope of Accounting Standard 23. An enterprise that presents consolidated financial statement should account for investment in associates in consolidated financial statements in accordance with this standard only. So, it's not applicable in separate financial statements of an investor. Also, the parent company that is in separate financial investment, that is in its individual balance sheet financial statement, it will continue to account such investment in associate as per accounting standard 13 only. Only for consolidated financial statement, any company have to follow this accounting standard. The objective of this accounting standard is to set principles and procedures for recognizing in the consolidated financial statements the effects of investment in the associate on the financial position and operating results of the group. The main advantages of Accounting Standard 23 are associates performance, measurement of return of investment, meaningful analysis, and it also helps proper reporting. So now let us go into some definitions. An associate is an enterprise in which investor has significant influence and which is neither a subsidiary nor a joint venture of the investor. So an associate will be something which has significant influence, but it is not a subsidiary or a joint venture. So what is the significant influence? Significant influence is the power to participate in the financial and or operating policy decisions of the investee, but not to control over those policy. Such significant influence may be gained either by share ownership or by statute or by any particular agreement. As regards share ownership, if an investor holds directly or indirectly through subsidiary or subsidiaries 20% or more of the voting power of the investee, it is presumed that the investor has significant influence unless it can be clearly demonstrated. Conversely, if investor holds directly or indirectly through its subsidiaries less than 20% of the voting power, it is presumed that the investor does not have significant influence unless such influence can be clearly demonstrated. So, it means that significant influence under share ownership cannot be said that if more than 20% of voting power is held, it will be presumed that it has significant influence. It needs to be clearly demonstrated that it has significant influence. Also, in case it does not have 20% of voting power, then too it can be assumed to have significant influence if it can be clearly demonstrated. So this 20% criteria of voting power is not compulsory. We have to look into the actual substance over form and look into case to case basis to understand whether it has significant influence or not. Also, significant influence is just the power to participate and not to control over the policies. He can only participate but not has any control over those policies. Associates accounted for using the equity method. The equity method is a method of accounting whereby the investment initially recorded at cost at identifying any goodwill or capital reserve arising at the time of acquisition. So this is the same method which we do in CFS also. The carrying amount of investment is adjusted thereafter for the post acquisition change in the investor share of the net assets of the investee. Equity method of accounting is to be followed by all enterprises having significant influence on their associates except the following cases. So it says that in following two cases, equity method of accounting cannot be followed. So what are these two cases? Let us see one by one. Control is intended to be temporary. because the investment is acquired and held exclusively with a view to its subsequent disposal in the near future. So if such an investment is made on temporary basis, then equity method of accounting will not be followed. Also, if it operates under the severe long-term restrictions which significantly impair its ability to transfer funds to the investor, then also equity method of accounting won't be followed to account such investment. So to get a better understanding of this accounting standard and this particularly this equity method, we will now look into the questions from ICI practice manual and study material. The concepts video is now over. Let us go to the practice manual questions. So now let us start with practice manual questions. There are two questions in practice manual, question number 90 and question number 91. First we will solve question number 91 and then we will go to question number 90. Bright Limited has acquired 30% of equity of shares of East India Limited for rupees 2 lakh on 1st of June 2016, by which and by such an acquisition Bright can exercise significant influence. So we can the question already mentions that it can exercise significant influence, so it will be treated as an associate company. During the financial year ended 31st March 2016, East India earns profit of rupees 80,000 and declared a dividend of rupees 50,000 on 12th August 2016. East India reported earnings of rupees 3 lakh for the financial ending 2017 and declares dividend of rupees 60,000 on 12th June 2017. We have to calculate the carrying amount of investment in separate financial statements of Bright Limited as on 31st March 2017, consolidated financial statements of Bright Limited as on 31st March 2017, and what will be the carrying amount as on 30th June 2017 in the consolidated financial statements. So first of all, as we can see, it is a associate company, and in that we have paid rupees 2 lakh and had acquired only 30% of the shares. And in the same year, that is, since we have acquired it on 1st of June 2016 and on 12th of August 2016, it has declared dividend which was pertaining to the pre-acquisition period. Since it was the dividend for 15-16, we have to deduct this dividend from our cost of acquisition to get our carrying amount. So in this 50,000, our share was 30%. So let us look into the answer first. Carrying amount of investment in separate financial statement will be done as per accounting standard 13. So amount paid for investment was 2 lakhs. From that we have to reduce the pre-acquisition dividend, which was 50,000 into 30%. 30% of 50,000 comes to 15,000. This will be reduced from our amount paid, and thus our carrying amount as on 31st March 2017 in the separate financial statement would be 1,35,000. 1,85,000. Similarly, in case of consolidated financial statement, we will follow accounting standard 23 and not accounting standard 13. So here again we will derive the amount as per AS 13 only, that is 1,85,000, and then we will add the proportionate amount of profit of the investee as per the equity method. So in this question it said that the company has earned a profit of rupees 3 lakhs. So by proportionate our proportionate share in this profit would be 30% of the 3 lakhs, which comes to 90,000. This will be added to the carrying amount which we have already calculated as per accounting standard 13. So 1,85,000 plus 90,000 will give us the carrying amount as on 31st March 2017 in the consolidated financial statements will be 2,75,000. Similarly, the carrying amount of investment in consolidated financial statement as on 30th June 2017 as per accounting standard 23 will be calculated. The carrying amount which we have already calculated in the consolidated financial statement as on 31st March 2017, which comes to 2,75,000. From this we will deduct the dividend which the company has declared. on 12th of June 2017, that is 60,000. So this 60,000, in this our share is restricted to only 30%. So we will again deduct this 30% of 60,000, which is 18,000, and thus the carrying amount as on 30th June 2017 will be 2,57,000. So now let us look into the question number 90, that is the first question of practice manual. A Limited has acquired 25% of shares in B Limited as on 31st March 2016 for rupees 3 lakhs. The balance sheet of B Limited as on 31st March 2016 is given below. Share capital were of 5 lakhs, reserves and surplus were of again 5 lakhs, thus making the total of rupees 10 lakhs. Fixed asset, investment and current assets were also totaling to rupees 10 lakhs. So there are, in this case, there are no liabilities, and assets and liabilities total is of rupees 10 lakhs. So the net assets were of 10 lakhs, and in that we have purchased 25% share. So the 10%, 25% of net assets 10 lakhs would be 10 lakhs into 25%, that is 2,50,000. However, we have paid rupees 3 lakhs. So the goodwill for this case would be 50,000. 3 lakhs minus 2,50,000. Let us look into the other part of this question. First, we have to calculate the goodwill, if any, in case of acquisition. So you can see the question. In terms of accounting standard 23, B Limited will be considered as an associate company of A Limited as shares acquired represent to be more than 20%. So the calculation of goodwill will be done on the basis of cost of investment was 3 lakh. In that we have to subtract the share in the value of equity shares as at the date of investment. So 10 lakhs being 5 lakhs equity, 5 lakhs reserves and surplus, we have to take 25% of this, which comes to rupees 2,50,000. So the amount of goodwill will be 50,000. So we have calculated this first part. Now for these two parts, we have to also look into the other information which is available. So during the year 31st March 2017, that is exactly after 1 year of acquisition, we have seen in this question that we have made the acquisition on 31st March 2016, and the data which we have been given is during the 31st March 2017. So exactly after 1 year, additional information is available. A Limited received dividend from B Limited for the year ended 31st March 2016 at 40% from the reserves. So this is the pre-acquisition dividend. So it will be reduced from the net assets which we have acquired. Also, B Limited has made a profit of rupees 7 lakhs, which is profit after tax for the year ended 31st March 2017. So this is the post acquisition profit, and this dividend which we have received will be deducted from as pre acquisition dividend. Also, B Limited has declared dividend at rupees 50% for the year ended 31st March 2017 on 30th April 2017. So this is the information also provided. It is following accounting standard 21. Now we have to answer the second part of the question, that is how A Limited will reflect the value of investment in B Limited in the consolidated financial statement, and third part is how the dividend received from B Limited will be shown in the consolidated financial statement. So first of all, we have to look into the value of investment. So the value of investment will be shown as, we have to prepare the consolidated profit and loss account, other income, share profit of B Limited, which is 1.75 lakh. How this 1.75 lakh came? It's the 25%. See, we have acquired 25%. It's the 25% of 7 lakhs, which comes to 1.75 lakhs, which is given, and from this we have to deduct the dividend received, which is 50,000. So in this case, the dividend received from B Limited is 50,000. How this 50,000 came? It's already mentioned in the question that the dividend were of 50%. So this question mentions that dividend received was 40%. 40% from pre-acquisition reserves. That is, the dividend was 5 lakh, 40% of 5 lakh, which comes to rupees 2 lakhs, and from that 2 lakhs which B Limited has declared, our share was of 25%. So 2 lakh into 25% comes to rupees 50,000. This is the 50,000 which we have received, and hence we have added this 50,000, and this transfer to transfer to investment account is calculated on the basis of. Similarly, this transfer to investment account is, since we have received this from pre-acquisition, we will subtract it from the cost of investment. Hence, the cost of investment will be reduced by rupees 50,000. And in the last part, that is the consolidated balance sheet, for dividend received part, we will show it as non-current investment in B Limited. Share in B Limited equity was of 2,50,000. From this we have to deduct the dividend received, that is 50,000. Hence our share will be reduced to rupees 2 lakh, and in this we will add the share profit of 1617, which is 1.75 lakh, thus making a total of 3.75, and in this we will again add the goodwill, that is 50,000, and thus the consolidated balance sheet will show at 4.25 lakhs. Let's read the working notes. Dividend received from B Limited amounting to rupees 50,000 will be reduced from the investment in the books of account. However, goodwill will not change. So this being the pre-acquisition dividend, we will reduce it from the cost of investment. The second point is, B Limited has made a profit of rupees 7 lakh for the year ended 31st March 2017. A Limited share in the profit of rupees 7 lakh is rupees 1.75 lakhs. An investment in B Limited will be increased by 1.75 lakhs, and consolidated P&L of A Limited will be credited with 1.75 lakhs in the consolidated financial statement of A Limited. The third point is, dividend declared on 30th April 2017 will not be recognized in the consolidated financial statements of A Limited, because we are following the accounting standard 21. So now we will go into the study material questions of the same. Let us look into the ICAI SM questions first. First illustration. A Limited acquires 45% of B Limited shares on 1st of April 2016. The price paid was 15 lakhs. Following are the extract of balance sheet of B Limited. Paid up equity share capital 10 lakhs, security premiums 1 lakh, reserves and surplus 5 lakhs. B Limited has reported net profits of rupees 3 lakh and paid dividends of rupees 1 lakh. Calculate the amount of investment in B Limited should be shown in the consolidated balance sheet of A Limited as on 31st March 2017. So as we can see that in this particular question, A Limited has acquired 45% of B Limited. That is, it is not a subsidiary nor a joint venture. So it will be considered as an associate. Also, the price paid was rupees 15 lakhs, whereas the net assets as on that date of B Limited were 16 lakhs. So let us go to our Excel sheet and make the calculations to compute the carrying amount. We have the investment in associates will be recorded at cost. The net assets were 16 lakhs, for which we have acquired only 45%. So 16 lakhs into 45%, which comes to 7 lakh 20,000, and the amount which we have paid is 15 lakhs. So the balancing, we have paid more, so this more amount will be treated as goodwill, and this balancing figure of will come of rupees 7 lakh 20,000 will be treated as goodwill. The B Limited has reported net profits of rupees 3 lakh and paid dividend of rupees 1 lakh. So in this, A Limited share would be 45% in both cases. This net profit will be added to our carrying amount, and this dividend paid will be deducted since it was from pre-acquisition period. So now let us look into the Excel sheet again. The amount which we have paid was 15 lakhs. In this we will add the net profit share, which is 45% of 3 lakhs, which is 1 lakh 35,000, and then we will deduct the dividend received, because it was a pre-acquisition dividend, which is 45% of 1 lakh, which comes to 45,000. So the carrying amount will be 15 lakhs plus net profit share, that is 1,35,000, less dividend received, that is 45,000, which comes to 15,90,000. So as I have already mentioned, this answer, the solution to this question as mentioned in ICI study material is wrong. You don't have to follow this solution. You just have to follow the one which I have shared with you in the Excel sheet. So let's move on to the next question, illustration number 2. A Limited acquired 40% share in B Limited on 1st of April 2014 for rupees 10 lakhs. On that date, B Limited had 1 lakh equity shares of rupees 10 each, fully paid, and accumulated profits of rupees 2 lakh. During the year 14-15, B Limited suffered a loss of rupees 10 lakhs. During year 15-16, it suffered a loss of 12 lakh 50,000, and during year 16-17, again it suffered a loss of 5 lakh. Show the extract of consolidated balance sheet of A Limited on all 4 dates, recording the above event. So in this case, we have a company in hand which is A Limited. It has acquired 40% share in B Limited. So it is neither a subsidiary nor a joint venture. So it will be treated as an associate company, and it has paid or acquired it for rupees 10 lakh. On that date, it had 1 lakh equity shares of rupees 10 each and accumulated profit of 2 lakh. That is, the net assets will be of B Limited will be 1 lakh into 10, that is 10 lakhs plus 2 lakh, that is 12 lakhs. Total 12 lakhs, in which we have acquired 40% of the share. So let's look it, and in further years 14-15 loss was 10 lakhs, next year 12 lakh 50 lakhs, and again next year was 5 lakh. So in all these loss, our share will be restricted to 40% only. So in case of 10 lakhs, our loss will be 4 lakh, 40%, that is 4 lakhs. Similarly in all other cases. So let's look into the question first. Let's look into the solution. So here also equity shares were of 10 lakhs and reserves and surplus were of 2 lakhs. So the net assets will be 12 lakhs, and in that we have acquired, A Limited has acquired 40%. So 12 lakhs 40% comes to 4 lakh 80,000, and the balancing figure, since we have paid 10 lakhs as an cost of investment, so the balancing figure, since we have paid more, it will be treated as goodwill, and it will amount will be 5 lakh 20,000. So how we will record in our consolidated balance sheet? Investment in B Limited would be 40% of net asset, that is 4 lakh 80,000, and we will add goodwill of 5 lakh 20,000, and thus make the total amount of cost of investment to 10 lakhs. But in next year, the company has suffered a loss of 10 lakhs. So the investment in B Limited was 4 lakh 80 plus goodwill, which comes to 10 lakh, and from now we will deduct the loss, that is 40% to only to the extent of the acquisition we have. So 10 lakhs 40% will come to 4 lakhs. We will subtract this and we will get the carrying amount of investment, which comes to 6 lakh. So now we have to reduce this 10 lakhs amount to 6 lakh. So how we will do it? First we will reduce the investment in B, that is 4 lakh 80,000 minus this loss of 4 lakhs. So 4 lakh 80 minus 4 lakh will give us 80,000, and this goodwill will remain as it is, and thus the carrying amount as on 31st March 2015 will be 6 lakhs. In the next year, again the carrying amount was initially 6 lakh, and the company has suffered a loss of 12 lakh 50,000. So in that our share will be 40%, which comes to 5 lakh. So the carrying amount will be now reduced to rupees 1 lakh. So now we have to also reduce the cost of our investment from 5 lakh minus from 6 lakhs minus 5 lakh, which will give us 1 lakh. So here 80,000 will be subtracted completely, and the balance amount, that is 5 lakh minus 80,000, which gives us 420. This will be reduced from this 520. So 520 minus 420 will give us 1 lakh of goodwill. In next case also, in the next year also, the carrying amount of investment was rupees 1 lakh, but now the company has suffered a loss of 5 lakh, and 40% of which comes to 2 lakhs. So the carrying amount will be negative 1 lakh, but we know that Negative cost of investment is not allowed as per accounting standard 23, and we will thus restrict it to nil, that is 0. So the investment in B Limited in our books will be recorded at not negative 1 lakh but at 0, that is nil. So we will remove it from our books of account. By this we are ending this accounting standard 23. I hope you all like this session. Please give it your views and suggestion in the comment section below. Thank you so much.